Hello dear viewers, I hope that you are doing well. Today I am going to present the summary of New Silk Roads, the Present and the Future of the World by Peter Frankopan. Peter Frankopan is a professor of global history at Oxford University. In 2013, he wrote a book that is known as The Silk Roads, and this book was considered one of the most important books by the Sunday Times, and it was a book that remained one of the most bestsellers for 9 months, and the Brazilian press considered it one of the most important book of 21st century's history. And then it was considered to be the number one book in India and China, and Sunday Time considered is one of the best books of the decade from 2010 to 2020. This book has been included in Read to Lead program that is established by Pakistani government, and this book is one of the books that is among the recommended books. This book, New Silk Roads, focuses on two things. First of all, it tells us that 18th, 19th and the 20th century was controlled and led by the West, while 21st century is the century of Asia. And in this century, he says that Asia will lead all the aspects of the world, whether it is social, political, or economical. And in the first part, he tells us that the Europe and the West, they led the world in economy, in politics, and all other fields of life. For example, if we look at economy, it was America and the Europe that led in every field of life in economy, while it was Europe's and America's concept of democracy that was applied in the world. So it was Europe and America that controlled and led the world in the 20th century. While in the 21st century, it is China and Asia that is rising to the power. In his book, he writes that the center of gravity is shifting from east to west. So it shows that in the previous century, it was West that was the center. Now it is Asia that is the center. And he tells us about different aspects, that how Asia will be the center and how it will lead the world in every aspect of life. First of all, it tells us about the economy, that the economy of Asia is developing with the passage of time, and one of the most and miracle economies is China. That China's economy has flourished and progressed so much that it is said that in 2032 it will leave America behind, and China will be the number one economy in the world. And regarding the economy, there are few places that hold important place in the trade, and one of them is Indo-Pacific Ocean. And Peter Frankopan writes that Indo-Pacific Ocean is the global crossroad of economy, and here 69% of the world trade takes place through Indo-Pacific Ocean. And that is why he says that Indo-Pacific Ocean will be the point where there will be power rivalries, and America will try to dominate the Indo-Pacific Ocean, while China will try to dominate Indo-Pacific Ocean as well. So we see that in the Indo-Pacific Ocean, China is taking the lead, and it has controlled South China Sea and other parts of the Indo-Pacific Ocean. And all the states that are around the Indo-Pacific Ocean, they are mostly joining Chinese camp, and they are taking loans from China, and they are becoming the part of Chinese project. And the second thing related to the economy is OBOR. OBOR is a project that was started by Xi Jinping in 2013, and its purpose was to connect Asia and the most other parts of the Asia, like South Asia and Central Asia, as well as Europe. So this will connect all these parts, and in this way China will be leading the economic aspect of life in this world. The next thing that Peter Frankopan tells us in this book is this, that UK, USA and all other Western powers who focused on multilateralism, globalization and the things related to globalization. But in this era and in 21st century, we see that they are moving away from their ideals, as Trump moved away from JCPOA, and then he stood for America first, and UK got involved in the Brexit. So all of them, they are moving away from the globalization, and they are moving away from multilateralism and moving towards unilateralism. While if we look at the China, they are uniting countries, and they are building relationship with other countries, and we see this, that multilateralism was promoted by America, but now it has been adopted by China, and they are using it in order to increase friendship, partnership. And Xi Jinping, in one of his address, said that we don't want alliances, we want friendship, and we do not want competition, rather we want cooperation and partnership. So this is Chinese concept of enhancing relationship with other countries. After that, Peter Frankopan focuses on Washington Consensus and Beijing Consensus. Now, first of all, we need to look at what is Beijing Consensus and what is Washington Consensus. Washington Consensus is related to the economic rules and regulations through which all the world and the economic affairs of the world are working. And World Bank, IMF, and all other institutions are the part of this Washington Consensus. But slowly and gradually we are seeing that Washington Consensus is losing its importance, while Beijing Consensus is gaining importance in the world. That it is Beijing who is providing loans to African countries, to Asian countries, and all the other countries in the different parts of the world. So Beijing is increasing its economic ties with the world, while it is Washington Consensus that is losing its importance in the world. Next thing that Peter Frankopan mentions is this, that the Asian countries are moving closer to each other, and he mentions that Turkmenistan and Tajikistan are coming together, and in this way there are other Central Asian countries that are moving closer to each other, and they are bridging the gaps. And he says that when these countries will be moving closer to each other, they are making good relationship with each other, it will lead to an Asia that will be connected with each other. And second thing that he mentions about Central Asia, and the most important thing, is that Central Asia is full and rich of natural resources, and these natural resources will be used by the Asians, and that is why these Asian countries are coming closer to each other, so that they will be sharing all these natural resources. Next thing that Peter Frankopan mentions is this, that the world is slowly and gradually moving towards the acceptance of Chinese version of different aspects. For example, when we talk about Taiwan, China promotes one China policy, which means that Taiwan is the part of China, while America does not believe in this, and they think that Taiwan is a different country, an independent country, so it must be considered independently. However, when we look at the scenario, that most of the aeroplanes, when they show maps in the aeroplanes, they show Taiwan to be the part of China, which shows that China's influence is increasing in the world, while the influence of America is decreasing in the world. Next thing that Peter Frankopan mentions, that most important corporations in America are bought by the Asians, and he mentions General Electric, that is bought by the Asians. So Asia is gaining importance, and they are buying different companies and corporations in America and other parts of the world. The most important thing that Peter Frankopan mentions is the trade war between America and China. So when Donald Trump saw that China is becoming economically very stronger, so he applied sanctions on China, and in this way he wanted to stop the progress of Chinese economy. But we saw that it is Chinese economy that is flourishing with the passage of time, and it is America that is losing ground in every aspect of. So all these aspects that we have discussed, they show that slowly and gradually America is losing ground in Indo-Pacific and Asia, and whosoever will be the ruler are controlling this Asia and Europe, they will be the leading powers in the world. As Halford Mackinder in his book says, that whosoever controls Eurasia will control the world, as Eurasia is the heartland of the world. So whosoever controls the heartland will control the world. And we see through the making of OBOR, China has controlled this part, Eurasia, and it is said, and it can be said, that China will be the leading power in the world, and it is already threatening America. So this book is about the fall of the West and the rise of the East, and this shows the power and the economy of China, that how it will surpass America and will become the superpower in every aspect of life. And in order to read other books on the same topic, you may read Destined for War by Graham Allison, who also discusses this aspect, that how China is leading in every way of life while she is leaving America behind. Thank you.